Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the full card of fights for UFC 278, Usman versus Edwards 2. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the card. So in our first fight, we have in the flyweight division, Victor Altamirano versus Daniel Da Silva. And how I see this one right here is it's basically got poor technique but output versus decent technique but low output, or at least low cardio, or from what we've seen, haven't seen him be able to go 3 rounds. Haven't seen him be able to go 2 good rounds. It's more so a guy that just got the technique, got the talent, but kind of lacking that gas, or seemingly hasn't proven to show that gas. But I'm going to lean to the more talented fighter or more skilled fighter down. So I feel like Victor Altamirano's style just doesn't really have much purpose to it. Just does a lot of awkward, just spinning, like, no, I don't know what is exactly called what he does. He fight like he somebody playing a video game and they just picked it up for the first time and they playing with it. That's how he fight. Like, he just be, I don't know. You can't call it slipping. He just be twisting. I don't know exactly what to call it. It just look very awkward, look very amateurish, but that get you very far when you got heart and you got at least somewhat bit of skills and you got heart and you got cardio. You train hard and you just be able to take a punch and just throw some little sloppy punches, sloppy kicks out there, and you just stay busy. I gotta get tired. You beat them by just being more active. Like, that's why you can't come in. You can't say, "Oh, like, I don't know what the freak he just did," but dude just went out there, put up volume, shot. Well, his takedown defense awful, but yeah, he just went out there, put up some volume, temper some submissions off his back. Just try to be active wherever he was at in the fight, and that's how he won. Like, I don't know exactly what the man did, but he was just active. That's what I see with Altamirano. But I do see weaknesses in his takedown defense, in his grappling. Dan Silva was a brown belt in BJJ. I feel like he could take advantage of him on the ground, get takedowns on the feet, especially early. I feel like he could pick him apart. It's the late I'm worried about, but I still feel like he'll be able to conserve himself a bit because he's not going over a guy with like solid boxing skills, solid pressuring skills. He's going to be there pressuring, but ain't going to be really much behind it besides volume. So I feel like Da Silva should be pretty comfortable and probably should be able to score takedowns and use that brown belt in BJJ to control him, probably work with some submissions in there. But still probably a relatively close fight just because of Altamirano's awkwardness and his volume, but Da Silva winning on skill and tactical control, like just getting takedowns at moments, looking for submissions, landing with actual intent on the feet, and yeah, getting a decision victory. So in this one, I got Daniel Da Silva via decision. Now to our next fight we have in the bantamweight division, Aoriqileng versus Jay Perrin. And how I see this one right here between Aoriqileng versus Perrin is I feel like Perrin to me looks like he's the better boxer, the more technical fighter in my opinion, like the more veteran type style out there. Mixes combos together very well, very crispy hands, and then on top of that, like, he could blend his strikes into the clinch very well. Like a veteran does. Like a veteran, they might not be out there doing a 1,000 punch like the 20-year-old, 19-year-old, 23-year-old, 24-year-old guy out there looking flashy and looking like the new kid on the block. He ain't like, he got that young kid style. He got a very veteran type style. Like, knows how to work in the clinch very well, knows how to tie people up, knows how to get his shots off and then tie you up and prevent you from getting your shots off. Know how to go for some takedowns. Never tries to overexert himself too much out there. It's like, like a good veteran type style. And that's what I saw from the beginning. I feel like the talent has been lacking. It's like, he's not that big athletic guy. He's not a guy, that heavy-handed guy. He's not that guy that just so crafty necessarily. But, he got good fundamentals and he got a good head for the game. But just like, he lacking some of that special factor, which is kind of going to hold him behind. And also I've seen, like, in the last fight, I think it was short notice, but still, you would want to see a guy to be able to thrive more in the later rounds. But yeah, it's a big step up, short notice. And I can't like factor what I have not seen from him. So I got to go Aoriqileng here to be able to come like constantly pressing the pace, constantly walking forward, being that zombie, throwing those big, stiff, heavy hands and being able to overwhelm Perrin. I don't think he stops Perrin. I think it's a very competitive fight, but I think it'll be close, close rounds. But Aoriqileng, being able to maintain his pace in the later rounds, whereas Perrin probably going to dip off, probably going to start to wilt to the power, wilt to the strength, probably give up some takedowns or give up some positions. And like I said, it's really to start getting walked down and worn down. Like early on, looked pretty good and crispy, being a cleaner technical fighter. Probably looking good, doing exactly what he wants to do. But Aoriqileng just being relentless, keep coming after him. And that pace and pressure, along with the power shots, is going to wear the Perrin down. And Aoriqileng is going to win a decision. So in this one, I have Aoriqileng via decision. Now to our next fight we have in the flyweight division, Amir Albazzi versus Francisco Figueiredo. And how I feel about this one is the odds should not be this far at all, but I gotta go Amir Albazzi. I feel like he's the better wrestler. And more than anything, it's this activity. I feel like Francisco Figueiredo be out there, being a little bit too passive with his striking, being a little bit too passive with offense. If it comes to him, he'll get it. Like some guy leave an ankle lock out there, leave an arm bar out there, leave something out there for him. He'll get it. You walk forward with your hands down, he will touch you up. But you out there defensively minded. You keep you on your P's and Q's. You know, on your ABCs and whatnot. He's not the guy that's going like really throw in combination and really look or really try to draw out count opportunities to really sting you. He's not gonna do that. Like he's got that's kind of waiting for these moments instead of really drawing them out or trying to set them up or trying to make opportunities to land big or trying to set up opportunities to really do things with significant intent. And that's the area why I'm leaning against him. But other than that, like ain't no real big edge that Albazi is so much of a better grappler, Albazi is so much better striker. I feel like in reality, Francisco Figueiredo, he was very much more active and had much more talent. He might be very well be the better fighter in the grappling department, in the striking department, in my opinion. But that tentativeness and like just gonna bite him because Amir Albazi will throw, and he's not a guy that's gonna throw and just swing his chin up like a slob out there. He gonna be crispy hands, pretty solid striking defense, pretty fundamental boxing. And like he like I said, openings will be there, but he's not the guy that's gonna have these big glaring openings for Figueiredo to counter. And Figueiredo's just gonna be kind of be on the defensive, and that lack of output is gonna cause him to be on the wrong side of a decision, getting outstruck, getting hit in the volume, outstruck in power shots, and then probably give him a couple takedowns. Respond probably well, attempted submissions. Probably never really been in a bad position too long, but still, we're not drawing back. We're not being aggressive. You're not being too comfortable on the back foot. You're going to end up on the wrong side of a lot of decisions. And that's what's going to happen here, I feel. So in this one, I got Amir Albazi via decision. Now to our next fight we have in the welterweight division, AJ Fletcher versus Loosa. And how I feel about this one right here is Loosa has 3 losses, but I think all 3 of them have been relatively competitive. Maybe to some degree. Like I don't feel like the last fight was all that competitive. He did land some good shots in the third round. Let me be honest. He landed some real good shots in that third round. But the opponent, took them pretty well and never, had a good poker face. But he did land some real good shots in that third round. Then in the Jacob Delaman Elena fight, very close fight. I don't know about the other fight he lost, that other fight, but that was split decision, so obviously it was a close fight. So he never been getting straight up washed by anyone. He's been in some very competitive fights, and at least the last 2 PB4 have been some of the better strikers in the welterweight division right now. AJ Fletcher does not fit that description, but he is very aggressive. He is an attacker. He is a killer out there. He will look to hit you with some heavy shots, take you down, look to ground and pound you, go for the finish. But I think he's going back. But yeah, I think he's going to backfire on AJ Fletcher here. I feel like Loosa's very tough, very durable, has shown a pretty solid takedown defense as well. And, shown a pretty decent well-rounded skill set, at least defensively, grappling-wise, then offensively, striking-wise. So I feel like he's skilled enough to be able to extend AJ Fletcher, let AJ Fletcher try to, maybe have that first round, trying to force takedowns, whether he's getting them or not. But, making him work for everything he has to work for. Overcommitting to these shots and these power shots and, just, so intent on trying to get a guy out of there. And also, Fletcher don't really have too much experience going later rounds. I mean, he did go 3 rounds with Semelsberger. He didn't never truly look too bad against Semelsberger in any round, but he definitely saw a fading effect in the second and third. But I think Loosa really going to press that fading button on him much more. I feel like he's going to be able to start stalking him more, really start to dig to the body and, invest in multi-level. Like he's not just going for a head hunter. He's going to invest to the body, invest to the leg, invest to the head, probably even working the clinch a little bit on him as he starts to wear down. Then I think he puts him away in the third round. So in this fight, I have Loosa via third round TKO. Now to our next fight we have in the featherweight division, Sean Woodson versus Luis Saldana. And how I feel about this one is, I feel very much Yusuf Zalal vibes right here. You got a pretty flashy guy. Off wrestling and grappling, not as good as Zalal. Really, I feel like it's a step down from Yusuf Zalal, to be honest. But I see parallels. He definitely not out of this fight. Well, I would say he had better leg. I'll say in general he has better kicks than Zalal. That's probably the only thing I would give him. Gas tank's much worse. Wrestling's much worse. Grappling's much worse. But yeah, solid fighter. Definitely got some good options in this fight. Got some good chance. And he does have a little bit of options there. But mostly I've seen this one, Sean Woodson pressing him, walking him down. Saldana probably, being able to hold his own through like the first round pretty well. Maybe even win the first round. Probably blast the inside leg kicks and throwing off the boxer that is Sean Woodson that bit in the first round. Maybe even be able to catch him with a couple of takedowns as he presses forward, stalking him. but not really being able to do much with him. And then Woodson is getting back to his feet with relative ease, and Loosa probably not even really trying to hold him down because that's too much. He really got any gas tank. He's not going to spin it trying to hold a guy down. He's going to try to get it to slow him down, to give him a different look. Probably then start faking the takedown and probably try and land head kicks or something. But anyway, nothing really phasing Woodson, but Saldana just gave him a bunch of different looks early on, and Woodson just let the fight settle down, walk him down, probably invest in the body, pumping him with a jab, but like not really doing too much in the first round, except just trying to extend Saldana out that first round and invest early. Then around second round starts to get to that second half. You start to see Saldana hand drop more. His output significantly drops. You start to see Woodson start to really rip the body more, and then start to end the combinations up top. It's Saldana just like hands low. Now I started really seeing him stinging in the second round. Now I feel like in the third round, he's gonna be a catch Saldana, very labored, output really, really low at this point, hands low, and just showing limited defensive tendencies, like defensive skills, showing limited defensive skills or limited defense. And then Sean Woodson gonna be to catch him with the cross, pepper the jab, step across, catch him with the cross, drop him down, and finish him off third round. So in this fight, I got Sean Woodson via third round TKO. Now to our next fight we have in the lightweight division, Jared Gordon versus Leonardo Santos. And how I feel about this one is, as I've said before, low confidence. I feel like you getting them both 100 cardio, Leonardo Santos wins like 99 times out of 100. But that's not the case. Jared Gordon is a jack of all trades, not really spectacular in any category, but that's no knock on him. It's just how I see it. No, it has shown questionable chin, and I think he's like 1-3 against Brazilians, but age is a big factor. Leonardo Santos like 43 years old, 42 years old on a 2-fight losing streak. Yes, he was doing good in both of those fights, but he lost both of those fights. And I just feel like Jared Gordon's going to be able to extend him out that first round and really just start to push a pace on him over the course of the next rounds, and be able to put him away in the third round. So Leonardo Santos, good start, probably a good first round or good half or good 3 minutes and 50 seconds, 3 or 4 minutes or something of the first round. But start to see a decline after that first round. And then really start to see that decline get sharper and sharper, and Gordon just be able to overwhelm him and put him away in the third round. So in this fight, I got Jared Gordon via third round TKO. Now to our next fight we have in the heavyweight division, Marcin Tybura versus Alexander Romanov. And how I see this fight right here is I'm going Romanov here. I feel like Tybura, matter of fact, I just learned something. I never really knew that Tybura originally was a grappler, but hey, bad capper tendencies right here. But anyway, you say he has originally a grappling. It makes sense now to an extent. But even then, he's never been no exceptional grappler from what I've seen. I can't say, I can't say I ever seen exceptional grappler from him. Good enough for the heavyweight division. Actually gets him pretty far in the heavyweight division. Is it has, turned his career around. But yeah, couldn't get no takedowns on Volkov. Got tired just grappling a striker and without getting any takedowns. And relatively lost a clinch battle with a striker. So another not good look from him. But yeah, I never was super impressed with Tybura striking to begin with. I think he got like one head kick on Victor Pesca, who didn't really amount to much. And then people kind of ran with that for a long time. Like, oh, this guy's such a good striker or something. Or he's well-rounded. Now he's working on his grappling. And he already got a striking in the back pocket. This guy's this, guy's that. But we're thinking the odds say something different. The odds got Romanov as a big favorite, which he should not be. This should be a closer odd fight, but the right guy is favored, but should not be favored to that degree. But anywho, I'm not impressed with. I never seen Tybura really do that much on the feet. Romanov is the one with the better background in grappling, and definitely the one that can control whether the fight goes to the ground. It's going to be more of a wrestling matchup, and Romanov is the guy with the truer wrestling background and should be able to win the position, especially now getting in better shape. Probably get some takedowns. Might even be able to get a finish, but I just feel it's going to be a pretty tough, tight matchup. But Romanov being able to get the takedowns in rounds, like early on, probably tougher to get them, but later on, when we start to settle, the fight starts to settle down, Romanov getting more takedowns, getting them easier. I'm not saying he'll get like 100 takedowns, probably like 2 takedowns maximum around, maybe like 2 in the second, and like 1 in third. Tybura retired, and he just be able to lay on him and try to work for some ground and pound. But Tybura been able to maintain and keep himself in the fight, but lose a decision. So close decision, but Romanov winning the wrestling battle. Not too much to note in the striking battle. A little bit of striking it here and there, but mostly a clinch battle with Romanov having the better experience in that area and better being able to dictate where the fight goes, whether it goes to the ground or not. And Tybura kind of struggling in that department. So Romanov getting takedowns. Tybura not really getting the takedowns. Clinch battle. And Romanov probably landing better shots in clinch as well. Probably having Tybura more so being the one pinning his cage in that clinch battle. So in this fight, I have Alexander Romanov via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in our first fight on the main card in the light heavyweight division, Tyson Pedro versus the former heavyweight Harry Hunsucker. Now I feel about this one right here, this is all Tyson Pedro, whatever he wants to do here. Harry Hunsucker, I will say, he has looked good on the scale. Like, the man dropped down 205, looking in the best shape he's ever looked in his life, but he don't really got the resume to prove nothing. Like, you got in good shape. That's a good look for you, but I still said the skills don't. We have not seen the skills. You could come out there and look like a Greek god and whatnot. Go from looking like a truck driver or a beer belly drunk to turn into a Greek god. Like, you would definitely say this guy's committed. He made the changes, and the odds will shift. Like, if that actually was the case. I mean, he did make a big change, but if that happened, that would make some shifts. He still would be a dog. Probably would drop down to like Pedro been minus 700, minus 600, but again, that wasn't the case. But I don't know where I'm going with this, but anywho, skills pay the bills. I still have not seen the skills from Harry Hunsucker. He got some jiu-jitsu, but Pedro's jiu-jitsu is on a much different level. In striking, Pedro's striking just on a much different level. Harry Hunsucker got a puncher's chance, and it probably will do him a favor that he's not in there with these bigger guys, so maybe he might have a little bit more chin. So that first round kind of a little bit more questionable. Like, I was feeling that first round, but I'm still going to stick with first round. I already made my pick. Going to stick with my pick. Going to stick first round KO. Stick traditionalist. Harry Hunsucker for two other Samoans got knocked out in the first round. They're already close and familiar, especially tied to Voss. Those guys, like, I think one of them married to the other one's sister or something. They very close. So yeah, so one of the guys literally in the house with you basically. But and two of them like knocked you out. So keep the streak alive. Keep it traditional. First round knockout for the Samoan. Just think Harry Hunsucker just shows overhands. He's gonna come in there trying to be aggressive, swing overhands. And then Pedro's gonna pick him apart and put him out in that first round. So in this fight, I got Tyson Pedro via first round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the women's bantamweight division, Lucy Pudilova versus Yanan Wu. And how I feel about this one is, it's a momentum pick. Lucy Pudilova has not been beating the best people necessarily, but she's on a winning streak. She's making improvements. Even as watching her fight, see better footwork, better shot selection, better control with her punches and her strikes, better judge of range, and, making better decisions out there, like with her footwork and like her activity. And I think always when she has been in fights that went the distance, seemingly been a woman that puts up a lot of volume. Yanan Wu has been losing fights due to volume, and now she's on like a 3 or 4 fight losing streak. So got to go with the better momentum. It's pretty much a pick and fight, but lean to the better momentum. Lean to one that's showing the better striking. Wu is the more well-rounded, but you're not going to use your more well-rounded skill sets. Kind of got to fade you. But also looking at on Pudilova's IG, she has been working a lot on her wrestling, so shouldn't have really any issues with Yanan Wu on the ground, I don't feel. So I just feel like going to be in a striking matchup. Might be a clinch battle, but I feel like in all areas, Pudilova's going to have an edge on her. Then in striking and the volume battle, which is going to be probably the most important battle, Pudilova's going to have an edge there. And also confidence and, like I said, momentum all on Pudilova's side. So gonna go Lucy Pudilova here to get her hand raised in a decision. So in this fight, I have Lucy Pudilova via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the bantamweight division, Jose Aldo versus Merab Dvalishvili. So I think Merab Dvalishvili probably had the most crazy wrestling pace in MMA history. If you could say anybody else has it, definitely don't say Khabib, because Khabib's wrestling pace is nowhere near Merab Dvalishvili. I don't know who else you could kind of say, but I don't think no one in the history of MMA has had a crazier pace. This man will go for like 25 takedowns, whereas like the average wrestler, especially in the post-TRT era, will go like have 5 decent takedown attempts in them. They might get 1 or 2, but they got 5 decent takedown attempts. They could be a one-dimensional wrestler. They'll go for 5 takedown attempts. I mean, they also got the wall and stall attack. Like, they might not be able to get that many takedowns in them, but they'll try to wall and stall you. They can wall and stall you pretty much all day long as you'll stay against the cage. But as far as takedown attempts, they've got like 5 good takedown attempts in them. And on average, they're not going to hit all 5. They're probably going to hit, like, on a good day, 2 of the 5. So they got to kind of survive one of those rounds. But Merab Dvalishvili will go for 25 takedowns and it still seem like no end to his gas tank. Like, man, because he needs to go for the takedowns. So that's the crazy thing about Merab Dvalishvili. But Jose Aldo has still maintained a 90% takedown defense ratio. And I think at bantamweight right now, he holds a 75% takedown ratio. So still very solid in the takedown defense department. Then I feel Merab Dvalishvili is very much a one-dimensional fighter. Still feel like his striking has really evolved as much as he would like it to evolve. And I think Jose Aldo still got a bit left in his tank. And I feel like he can just outstrike Dvalishvili all day and should be able to stuff most of his takedowns. And if the takedowns he does give up, I feel like he could be able to get back up from them and just dissect Dvalishvili on the feet. But like I said, Dvalishvili will try to go for all those takedowns. It's not going to give Aldo the much space as he wants to probably materialize a finish. But I feel Aldo will have his moments in here. And Dvalishvili will struggle here. But again, very close fight. But I think Aldo's stuffing probably the great majority of his takedowns, probably holding about 2 or 3 takedowns. Probably one or two real good takedowns. We had to get some control for a little bit of time. Maybe 4 takedowns is maximum. But I feel like the majority or half of them are going to be Aldo just probably taking down and instantly popping back up, hitting the wizard, getting back to standing, and then disengaging and going back distance, popping with a jab, maybe throw some front kicks in there, sprawling heavy, then going back, ripping to the body, inside leg kick, outside leg kick, and just being there to take out the wheels and the drivers from the Dvalishvili for the wrestling game. But a very competitive fight, very close fight. Dvalishvili won't stop, won't relent. But Jose Aldo is just, at this point, just the much more well-rounded fighter. And I still think he got the style advantage. And again, what I said, Aldo has only lost to premier strikers, some of the best strikers in MMA history. He has never lost yet to a wrestler. But maybe this will be the day. And Dvalishvili definitely is that wrestler that will shoot more takedowns and the most relentless wrestler in MMA history, in my opinion. You could quote me on that. But close fight, but I gotta go Aldo here. So in this fight, I have Jose Aldo via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in our co-main event in the middleweight division, Paulo Costa versus Luke Rockhold. Now how I feel about this fight right here between Costa versus Rockhold is Father Time is undefeated, and Rockhold just made a mistake in my opinion. And again, you could quote me on this. Rockhold made a mistake. I know he's trying to be cocky, or I don't know, he's trying to, great confidence in yourself, and it's always good to have confidence, but it's better to have sense. It's great to have confidence, but it's better to have sense. And you can quote me on that as well. Great to have confidence, but it's better to have sense. But so yeah, you coming in there, 37 years old, like a 3-year layoff, 2-fight knockout streak loss, and probably got knocked out 3 times in your last 4 fights. So it's not the best look. Then you go in there with a guy who may not have one-punch knockout power necessarily, but does got heavy hands, does got a pressuring style, does got a BJJ background, does got a solid takedown defense, and your takedown offense is pretty terrible. And all things just line up for you to get knocked out, pretty much. And that's really going to be the outcome. I just feel like Rocco might look good through first round. He got a great technique and whatnot on the feet. For the most part, at least offensively, defensively, a lot of flaws, a lot to not be desired defensively. But I feel like he looked good through the first round. His defense probably hold up through the first round. You can like, oh my God, Luke Rocco made so much improvements. But Paulo Costa probably slamming kicks to his body. I feel like Rocco's not, even in the Weidman fight years back, he got kicked to the body. He was curling up a little bit from the kicks. So Costa, past his prime, going in with a big bruiser like Costa, getting ripped to the body with kicks and punches. I feel like that's going to start to bring those arms down and start to bring those bad tendencies down. So I feel like early on, he might be able to get through the first round, look good, and maybe even shift the odds for a bit. But money's never going to leave Costa. The money's always going to be on Costa. The smart money never going to leave Costa. So the dumb money, you kind of start live betting Luke Rockhold after the first round. But second round, the man's going to get his lights turned out. The investment's already going to get paid. They're going to get paid a little bit more in that second round early. Then he's going to start to take his flaws, going to start to show himself when he starts to react to the body shots. Start to drop his hands down. Hit with a combination. Probably a double to the body, then bring it up top with a hook. Left hook probably. Catch Rockhold, chin up, hands down. Probably extend himself trying to block his body. His ribs hurting, body, rib bleeding on the inside. Get caught up top, drop, then follow up with some ground and pound. TKO, Paulo Costa, second round. So in this fight, I got Paulo Costa via second round TKO. Now to our main event, we have in the welterweight division, Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards 2. And how I feel about this fight right here is very great matchup. Edwards definitely has a good style to beat Usman, and Usman obviously has a good style to beat Edwards. I feel like Edwards' advantages in this one is his height, his length, his striking. Definitely the much better striker, technically. Then he got the clinch work, and Usman does spend a lot of time in the clinch, and Edwards can slice him up with some elbows. But I think the thing with Edwards is 2 things. Not a consistent finisher. I think he got 2 finishes in his whole UFC career. Got 20 fights with 2 finishes. That's a concern. Usman on the side, not a great finisher either. So You go on a fight that's highly likely to go rounds or go the distance, and then a guy that's gonna be doing more than you. Like he can go for the takedowns. And I know Edwards got some underrated jiu-jitsu, underrated wrestling, but I don't think he's gonna take down Usman too much. He might be able to catch one or two sneaky takedowns, but not be able to do too much with it. You got Usman on the side, got that relentless gas tank, that strength, that wrestling background, that pedigree. So he's gonna be looking to hold you against the cage, looking to take you down. And it's not like Edwards. Edwards does have solid takedown defense, does use his clinch very well to negate takedowns. But even in the fights that he's won, some of his better wins, he has spent a good amount of time on the ground. Like in the RDA fight, I think it was at least one round where he got taken down. He got taken down at least twice in that fight. And I think both times he did spend some good time on the ground, especially at least one of those times with some good time. And then we all know the Gunnar Nelson fight, he spent a whole third round on the fight just playing defensive mode. So the guy can get taken down, guy can be held down. It's not like he's got like 90% takedown defense, or that guy, like, he's not Aldo. He's not prime Aldo and that stuff. The guy can be taken down, he can be held down. And then he struggles to get a finish. It's not like he looked all that phenomenal against Nate Diaz. And also another thing, activity. He's been trying to be active now. That no contest against Bilal Muhammad, so he fought like 2 minutes of that fight. Then he had 5 rounds with Nate Diaz, which he looked good at moment, but in reality, he did not look phenomenal. And so he's taking a big step up in competition. And in reality, he hasn't really fought a true fight. He fought Nate Diaz. Whereas Kamaru Usman has been probably the most active champion, been doing the right things. Yes, you could see like he's been putting tape on him, but I just feel like Edwards not been able to get a finish, not been that finisher, which kind of takes away his best opportunity. I'm not saying the finish is off the table for Edwards, but it's not been shown to be, and so you can't really rely on that. I just feel like Usman's gonna be able to work him in his cage, probably struggle to get some takedowns, but Usman will be relentless. Keep going for takedown, keep going to takedown. He'll shoot a lot of, as many takedowns as needed to get the fight. I sound like an engine. Shoot as many takedowns as needed to get the takedown. Be able to pressure, walk forward, probably crack Edwards with the straight. Then like just push him back to the cage with it. Then look to the level change and just really scoop him and drag him to the mat to see a very competitive fight. Could even end up in a split decision, but I feel like Usman will be able to get the takedowns. He will be able to get to control, and he will be the one pressing more often, and will be the one landing the power shots. And those will all factor in Usman getting his hand raised yet again in the rematch. So in this fight, I got Kamaru Usman via decision. And that concludes my fight predictions for the full card of fights for UFC 278, Usman versus Edwards 2. And as always, thanks for watching.